On Christmas Eve, Georgia tells Sam she's going to have a baby by showing him 3 tests that say she's pregnant. Sam isn't happy, but promises to help Georgia with whatever she chooses to do. Then he asks Georgia to marry him, but she doesn't answer because their friends come to take them to a Christmas party. As they're getting ready to go, Eli, the robot, says Happy Halloween to Sam, so Sam reminds him it's actually Christmas. When they get to the party, Daniel, another robot, gives Georgia a drink with alcohol, but Sam tells her she shouldn't drink it. During their argument, Georgia accidentally drops the drink. Later, Georgia goes to the bathroom with her friend Sarah to share the news about the baby. Just as she's about to explain what she's thinking of doing, a loud noise fills the house and suddenly all the lights go out. As they step out of the bathroom, they stumble upon Daniel strangling their friend. Connor, who's hosting the party, struggles to pry Daniel away, but the android keeps slamming him against the glass door. Daniel then targets the other guests, seizing Sam. In a desperate bid to save Sam, Derek wields a baseball bat, pounding Daniel until the android ceases its attack. Suddenly, they hear distant gunshots and sirens. Venturing outside, they witness a horrifying sight: androids turning against humans, chaos engulfing the city. In shock, they witness Sarah tragically shot in the head. With the city plunging into turmoil, Sam and Georgia are compelled to seek refuge in the forest. As Georgia's due date approaches, they begin pondering names for their impending arrival. Georgia is convinced it'll be a girl, while Sam argues for a boy. Despite Georgia's advancing pregnancy, the couple braves the woods in search of safety, avoiding main roads to evade detection by the androids. Eventually, they stumble upon a secluded military encampment. After surrendering their weapons and undergoing scrutiny to ensure they're not androids, the soldiers grant them entry. During a medical examination with Dr. Howe, Georgia recounts their failed attempt to reach New York City during the Blitz. Their journey was thwarted when the military deployed an EMP weapon, leaving New York vulnerable to the next wave of androids, which overran the soldiers, as Howe grimly notes. When Georgia mentions their plan to head to Boston, Howe cautions them against a direct approach, explaining that the city is heavily fortified, with a perilous no-man's land surrounding it. Given Georgia's pregnancy, the journey poses significant risks. Concerned, Georgia asks Howe about cutting the umbilical cord after childbirth. Howe strongly advises her to remain at the camp for the birth, emphasizing the dangers of traveling in her condition. Georgia then reveals Sam's desire to reach Boston before the baby arrives, citing a promising pamphlet they found offering safe passage overseas for families with infants. While Howe acknowledges hearing about it, she mentions rumors suggesting that only mothers and babies are being accepted due to limited food supplies. Despite the uncertainty, Howe offers reassurance by allowing Georgia to listen to the baby's heartbeat through the stethoscope. Outside the clinic, Sam approaches a patrolling soldier, inquiring about any shipments headed to Boston for a possible ride. The soldier explains that Boston is a no-go due to the formidable barrier of no man's land. He elaborates on the city's defenses, including troops in the EMP, making it seemingly impenetrable but potentially vulnerable once the weapon is detonated. Sam reveals their plan to sail to Korea with hopes of finding safety there. Later that night, Georgia witnesses a man approaching the camp, but the soldiers refuse him entry as their detector signals he's not human. Despite the man's pleas, claiming a hip replacement as the cause of the detection, the soldiers opt to shoot him. Later, Georgia urges Sam to reconsider staying at the camp for the birth, emphasizing the risks of traveling with a newborn. Sam counters, expressing concern about the challenges of reaching Boston with a baby. Georgia insists she'll go if Sam can secure a safe way for them to travel. She brings up the unsettling rumor that fathers aren't allowed on the boat from Boston. Sam reluctantly suggests Georgia and the baby should go alone, intending to find another solution. Georgia reacts strongly, accusing him of wanting to shirk his responsibilities by sending her away. Determined to find a solution, Sam seeks out the soldier from earlier, hoping to persuade him to provide transportation to Boston. The soldier agrees to take them close to the city, but only if Sam defeats him in a fight. Sam agrees, hopeful that the soldier will keep his word. In the morning, Georgia is awakened by a soldier who escorts her to the captain's tent. There, she learns that Sam's altercation with the patrolling officer resulted in severe injuries, including a fractured skull and blindness in one eye. As a consequence, they're expelled from the camp. Before leaving, Howe provides Georgia with medicine and instructions on how to cut the umbilical cord. Georgia departs ahead of Sam, who pleads with the soldiers to return his confiscated revolver, stressing its necessity for protecting her. As soon as a soldier hands him the revolver, Sam follows Georgia. Later, he apologizes to her for jeopardizing their safety and assures her of his commitment to protect her. When they stumble upon a house, Sam leaves the revolver with Georgia and ventures inside alone, armed with a machete to scout for potential threats. After some time, Sam emerges from the house and signals to Georgia that it's safe to enter. While he scavenges for a mattress, he discovers a Polaroid camera and snaps a selfie, noticing there's one photo left. Inspired, he decides to keep the camera, planning to capture a family photo once their baby is born. Georgia calculates that their journey to Boston will take 2 weeks, as they must take a longer, safer route to evade the surrounding androids. Although a shorter, riskier path would get them to the city in a few days, they'd need to maintain absolute silence. Georgia proposes giving birth in the house so they can take their time traveling to Boston afterward. When Sam asks if she believes things will ever return to normal, Georgia admits they won't be the same, but remains hopeful that something positive will emerge. In the morning, Georgia discovers Sam attempting to repair a motorcycle. Eager to expedite their journey, Sam suggests using it to travel directly to Boston, confident they could reach the city in a single day. However, Georgia emphasizes the need for stealth during their travels. Sam expresses concern that having the baby before reaching Boston could complicate the journey, fearing the infant's cries might attract android attention. Despite this, Georgia prepares her bag and joins Sam on the motorcycle. Before they depart, Sam entrusts her with the revolver, cautioning her to remain vigilant for any android threats. With the motorcycle engine roaring, they speed through the woods on their way to Boston. After driving for a while, the couple stops by a river to take a break. Suddenly, Georgia spots an android observing them from a distance, prompting her to alert Sam. As the android starts closing in, Georgia swiftly mounts the motorcycle. They speed away, but another android gives chase. Georgia manages to shoot it, but more androids and drones join the pursuit. Realizing they can't outrun them, Sam instructs Georgia to dismount and flee while he distracts the robots. He directs her to return to the river and wait for him there. As Georgia hides from the drones, a stranger approaches and signals her to keep silent, cautioning her about an android perched atop a nearby rock. After the android departs, the man suggests Georgia accompany him, but she declines, waiting for Sam. The man insists the androids have taken Sam. Georgia changes her mind when she starts feeling labor pains. Leading her to a secluded shipping container in the woods, the man remains silent when Georgia asks how he evaded the androids. Instead, he shares a tale by Karel Capek about a scientist who crafts beings to challenge the existence of God. He points out the resemblance between these creations, called roboti, and modern androids. Initially, the roboti gladly served humans, but they eventually rebelled, causing humans to perish. The man notes that Capek's play popularized the term robot in human language. He argues that by labeling their mechanical creations as robots, humans unwittingly predicted their own downfall. Revealing he once worked as an AI programmer at Raster Robotics, he asserts his survival stems from understanding the android's thought processes. When Georgia asks about what happened during the Blitz, Arthur insists that creating the robots was a grave mistake from the start. He then introduces himself as Arthur and kindly offers Georgia a can of tuna before he settles down for sleep. As time passes, Georgia experiences more contractions, yet her water hasn't broken. She shares with Arthur her urgency to find Sam, but Arthur cautions her against it, fearing for her safety. Arthur explains that the robots managed to infiltrate human programming, and now they're poised to exploit this knowledge to their advantage. He emphasizes the importance of love and emotional connections for human survival, juxtaposing it with the android's lack of self-preservation instincts. Arthur advises Georgia to prioritize her own safety, warning her that her affection for Sam could lead to her demise. He underscores the unpredictability of the android's strategies, urging Georgia to heed his words for her own well-being. Arthur continues to plead with Georgia, urging her to heed his advice. Perplexed, Georgia asks him why he's so concerned. In response, Arthur requests to listen to her womb. Accepting his unusual request, Georgia allows him to embrace her abdomen, where he begins to weep for the lives lost. Arthur then offers to escort Georgia safely to Boston. He equips her with a vest designed to conceal her from the android's optical sensors, rendering her invisible to them. However, he warns her that they can still detect her presence through other senses. Despite Arthur's insistence that she not use the vest to rescue Sam, Georgia remains resolute in her determination to find him. In response, Arthur relents and agrees to help her. Leading her to a house where humans are held captive by the androids, Arthur provides another vest for Sam's escape. Arthur warns Georgia that the robots will pursue her for 4 miles until they detect the EMP radius signal. He suggests that there's still a chance for Georgia to walk away, emphasizing that Sam will never know. Despite this, Georgia refuses to abandon Sam, knowing she would regret it. Determined, Georgia enters the house and begins searching the rooms for Sam. Along the way, she encounters two oblivious androids in a hallway, managing to evade their notice. In another room, Georgia encounters a female android and silently maneuvers around her to avoid detection. Finally, she locates the room where Sam and another captive are being held. Upon reaching Sam, Georgia discovers his broken legs. Despite the other captive's pleas for release, Georgia instructs him to remain silent to prevent attracting the android's attention. As an android suddenly enters the room, Sam bravely taunts him, diverting his attention. The android ruthlessly stomps on Sam's leg multiple times before departing. Seizing the opportunity, Georgia releases Sam from his restraints, but the other captive starts screaming when Georgia refuses to aid him. Several androids pursue them as they dash towards the garage door, but Arthur intervenes, eliminating the robots. Exhausted, Georgia collapses on the ground, only to realize she's about to give birth. Arthur swiftly transports Georgia and Sam back to the safety of the shipping container before driving away. When Georgia awakens, she finds herself in a hospital in Boston. A doctor informs her that Sam is beside her and that she has successfully given birth to a healthy baby boy. Additionally, the doctor reveals that Arthur is also present at the hospital, having collapsed after bringing them there. Explaining that Georgia was unconscious upon arrival, the doctor mentions that they performed a C-section to ensure the safe delivery of the baby. After the doctor departs, Georgia brings the baby to Sam, who eagerly cradles their newborn. Sam encourages Georgia to reveal his legs, curious about the doctor's treatment. As Georgia uncovers his feet, she's dismayed to discover both of Sam's legs have been amputated. Despite this, Sam reassures her, joking about getting robot feet once they reach Korea. He then proposes naming their baby Forrest, a suggestion that Georgia readily agrees to. Later, a lieutenant visits the hospital to question Georgia. When asked about her connection with Arthur, Georgia recounts how he sheltered her and assisted in rescuing Sam from the androids. She credits Arthur's camouflage vest for enabling Sam's rescue, but the lieutenant disputes the effectiveness of such technology against robots. Undeterred, Georgia insists that the vest indeed worked. However, doubts begin to surface as she contemplates whether Arthur might be an android masquerading as a human, part of a cunning scheme to infiltrate Boston. Feeling regretful for trusting Arthur, Georgia confesses her mistake to the lieutenant. When they glance at Arthur's bed, they are shocked to find a dead nurse lying there instead. Suddenly, screams and gunshots echo from outside the room. Realizing Arthur's intentions to disable the EMP, Georgia urgently wakes Sam and takes her baby, heading for the basement in a wheelchair. Along the way, Georgia arms herself with a handgun from a fallen soldier. As she attempts to unlock the room containing the EMP, Arthur emerges and feigns sorrow over the casualties. However, he abruptly reveals that androids were programmed to mimic emotions to manipulate humans. Threatening to harm Georgia's baby unless she complies, Arthur advances towards her. Faced with imminent danger, Georgia opens fire, striking Arthur multiple times until he collapses. With determination, she delivers a final shot to his head as he reaches out to her, ensuring her safety and that of her baby. As the androids approach, Georgia hurriedly unlocks the gate to the EMP room, attempting to shut it behind her. Despite her efforts, she struggles to secure the gate again. With determination, she reaches for the EMP switch while holding the gate in place. As she toggles the switch, the androids power down, plunging the room into darkness. A day later, Georgia finally captures a moment with Sam and the baby using a Polaroid camera. Meanwhile, the conflict between the military and a fresh wave of androids intensifies. Determined to escape the chaos, Georgia and Sam head to the harbor with their baby, aiming to board a boat bound for Korea. Upon arrival, they are scrutinized by a Korean officer who verifies their humanity. However, their hopes are dashed when they learn that only the baby is allowed aboard due to limited resources. Moreover, the officer points out the challenges Sam would face as an amputee, making life in Korea untenable for him. Despite their heartache, Sam convinces Georgia to let their baby go for his safety. Tearfully, Georgia writes a heartfelt letter to her son, expressing her love and longing for a family life they can't provide. As the Korean officer urges them to depart, Georgia and Sam share a tender farewell kiss with their baby before relinquishing him to the care of the Koreans. Through tears, Georgia pleads with the officers to ensure their son finds a loving home. As they watch the boat sail away, Sam comforts Georgia, assuring her their baby will be safe. Time passes, and Georgia finds herself traveling alone after losing Sam. In a moment of grief, she burns a photo of Sam in a fireplace, contemplating burning the picture of their family with the baby, but ultimately deciding to keep it as a memento. One day, Georgia encounters a traveling military unit and decides to accompany them to Portland, where humans are rebuilding a new base, seeking solace and a fresh start amidst the turmoil. And with this, the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching, guys.